Myself, Dr. Sarita Bang, Associate Professor in English, BGDC Government College, Shahpura. This video is a continuation of the previous video, which is a line-by-line analysis of the poem Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This poem is prescribed for BA Part 3, and the introduction and the background of the poem has already been given to the students in the form of PDF. So you can refer to those notes before listening or seeing this video. Let's continue with line 33. That is, here I am going to explain the lines 33 to 38. This is my son, my own Telemachus, to whom I leave the sceptre and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Ulysses here introduces us to his son and heir, Telemachus, who seems like the right guy to take over the job of the king of Ithaca. He is smart and he knows how to make his people do things without being too harsh about it. A scepter is a ceremonial staff that symbolizes authority. Ulysses means something like, I leave him in charge. When compared with Ulysses, Telemachus seems a lot less restless. He has slow prudence, meaning he is patient and willing to make the best decision for the people of Ithaca without being too hasty. The people of Ithaca are rugged, which means that they are a little uncivilized and uncultured. They are with a little bit of an attitude. That is why they need to be reined in, that is, subdued, made mild, and put to good use. Soft degrees implies that Telemachus will civilize the citizens of Ithaca in stages and in a nice way. I hope these lines were clear. Now let's move on to lines 39 to 43. Ulysses here tells us more about Telemachus' qualifications. He's a straight shooter all the way, a nice guy, decent, not to fail. That means Telemachus is smart enough not to fail at doing nice things for people and paying the proper respects to the gods. Before continuing, let me read the lines once again. Most blameless is he, centered in the sphere of common duties, decent not to fail, in offices of tenderness and pay, meet adoration to my household gods when I'm gone. His work is, he works his work, I mine. He works his work, I mine. I hope it's clear. So here, meet again means appropriate or suitable. We are not sure whether I am gone means that Ulysses is planning on going back to sea for some more adventures, or if he is thinking about his own death. Let's continue. Lines 44 to 50. There lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, there gloom the dark broad seas, my mariners, souls that have toiled and wrought and thought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome look, the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads, you and I are old, old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Ulysses shifts our attention to the port of Ithaca, where he tells us a ship is preparing to set sail. Gloom is usually a noun, but here it is a verb that means appearing dark or scowling. Thunder and sunshine is used here to mean something like good times and bad times. They have gladly, with a frolic welcome, gone through thick and thin for Ulysses. The phrase, Opposed, free hearts, free foreheads is a little tricky. Ulysses means that his sailors opposed whatever came in their way, thunder, for example, and they did it as free men with a lot of confidence. Free foreheads, remember? Speaking of the old age, Ulysses suggests that even though old people are respected, they also have responsibilities. Let's move on to lines 51 to 56. Death closes all, but something ere the end, some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks, the long days, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moons bound with many voices. Ulysses knows that death will end everything, but he still believes he can do great things, things worthy of men who fought against the will of the gods during the Trojan War. Ere is an old poetic word that means before. Ulysses observes the sunset and the arrival of the night, but it seems like he is thinking about his own death as well. It reminds us of ghosts or people mourning a death. Lights begin to twinkle from the rocks is an elegant way of saying that stars are coming out. Moving on to lines 56 to 64. Come, my friends, it is not too late to seek a newer world. Push off and sitting well in order, Smith. The sounding furrows for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs will wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles whom we knew. Ulysses is addressing his friends. He tells them what he has been telling us all along. It's never too late to go in search of new lands. Here, a furrow refers to the track or mark made in the water by the ship. He tells his sailors to smite or strike it most likely with oars. Purpose can mean two different things. It can mean either destiny, as in sailing is my purpose in life, or it can mean intention, as in I intend to sail as far as I can. The baths of all the western stars refers to the place where the stars seems to plunge in the ocean, which the Greeks believed it surrounded the earth. To sail beyond the baths means Ulysses wants to sail really, really far away, beyond the horizon of the known universe until he dies. The Happy Isles refers to the islands of the blessed, a place where big-time Greek heroes like Achilles enjoyed perpetual summer after they died. Ulysses realizes that he and his companions might die, but he is okay with that. If they die, they might even go to the Happy Isles and visit their old pal Achilles. Lines 65 to 70. Though much is taken, much abides, and though we are now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Ulysses yet again tells us that even though he and his sailors are old and don't have a lot of gas left in the tank, there is enough left to go a little farther. Abides is a word that means remains. These guys are a team with one heartbeat. They are old and broken, but they still have the will to seek out and face challenges without giving up. The phrase strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not yield means something like we are strong because of our will to strive, or our will to strive is strong. Now, The poem is over, but let's talk about the themes. Fulfillment of life. Ulysses is not satisfied with the kind of idle life he leads after his return from the Trojan War. For him, life is not just the accumulation of years, life piled on life. It is the accumulation of experiences and knowledge which comes through hard work. Life, void of action and adventure, leads to decay, while an active life makes one excel and shine. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use. Ulysses is keen on living life to full. The next theme is exploration and colonization. The poem is a piece of propaganda for imperialism, encouraging the British to go out and capture the world. Ulysses is a representative of the spirit of imperialism during the Victorian period. Ulysses' son, on the other hand, represents the other side of managing the vast empire, taming and subduing the savage nations under the British control. The poem glorifies the life battles and conquest. Ulysses persuades the mariners to continue the mission of conquering new territories, to enlarge the empire, and to fulfill Britain's obligation to rule and culture the rest of the world. Elegy. The tone of the poem is elegiac. It is one of the many poems that Tennyson wrote in response to the death of his close friend Arthur Hallam. The poem's reference to death as the end of a life full of adventures has a biographical relevance. The poem also laments the end of a lifestyle, the life of the restless warrior and adventurer. I hope this has been a very useful lecture for you. Thanks and regards.